Yo, what up, world? I'm back. You know, I know nobody really watches these right now, but I'm back to recording my videos. I actually just got home right now. I was doing a route. As y'all know, the last time that I was making these videos, I was over the road. My girl was already pregnant, and the 19th of August, my son was born. So she started having contractions like in July. So I didn't want a chance being over the road and then miss my son's birth or not be there for her when she needs my help and stuff like that. So I decided to just chill out and come back and just work local stuff. Fortunately for me, where I live in Southern California. So where I'm at, I'm able to take advantage of these local routes, you know? So that's pretty much that. I know right now what I want to talk about is just my experiences that I've learned from driving local to driving OTR. You know, it's not going to be the same for everybody, but I'm just going to tell you my experiences. Before I went over the road, I was actually driving local. And, you know, when you're brand new, or at least when you get curious, when you're anything like me, what happens is you get on these like YouTube and things like that, and you listen to these people talking. When these people are talking, they're telling you about how much money they're making by being over the road, and you're like, oh my gosh, man, I'm missing out. I'm only doing local stuff. I'm not going over the road. I'm missing out on this much money, and whoop-de-whoop. And so I decided to make all these changes to my DOT. I expanded my insurance and things like that so that I'm able to make those drives and take those routes to be able to drive OTR. So all that. In regards to my experience of being OTR, you guys can go back and see my other videos. Those are pretty much the first videos that I put up. But in those videos, you're going to actually see like, it's kind of raw footage. It's just me kind of speaking. I feel like I'm speaking based on emotion, but at the same time, I'm speaking based on my experience, you know? So everything is fresh. Everything is like right in my mind. Around that time, like, I was getting like super desperate when I wasn't getting routes. I was, you know, I went through a whole amount of like different types of phases, different types of emotions came through me, depending on what day it was, depending on where we were or where I was, in the US, you know, and if I wasn't getting any routes, I always wondered, you know. So you'll get to see that stuff in those videos if you go back and see that. But like I said, I just want to give you guys my thoughts, you know, my thoughts on what I've seen and just what I've learned from being OTR and from working local. Like I said, before I went to drive OTR, I was doing local stuff, and I really thought I was missing out. And so I started doing that. And when I came back and I had no choice but to go back to doing local work, I started naturally comparing my situation. You know, how much money did I make these weeks? How much money did I make these weeks? And deduct all my expenses and all that, and kind of try to go based off of analytics, you know, see what's really working for me. And, you know, it's got me thinking of a lot of things. And one of the things that I wish that I would have learned up front is that I can't necessarily compare or mimic my strategy based on what this person is doing. Like, you could take bits and parts and learn from that person and try to strategically come up with your own plan or try to implement something along the same lines. But I can almost guarantee that if you try to do the same thing that one person is doing, it might not work for you. It might work for you, and you know that good for you if it works for you, but it's not going to work for everybody. So what you got to do is you got to implement, adapt, you know, and make it your own. So I was watching all these YouTube videos. People were saying all this stuff, and I didn't take into consideration that my living situation is completely different than what that person is going through. And it's same thing as far as like geographically where I'm at. It all depends on how many warehouses are near you. How busy is it? Is it even a busy area? Is it a good state for freight? Like, what is it, you know? And so that's one thing that I've had to learn. So when I was watching all these videos online about people driving OTR, you know, I've noticed that most of the people that I gravitated to were either living in the South somewhere or in the Midwest, you know, where you don't really have all these things around you. Everything is kind of spread out. And so I was trying to mimic my strategic plan based off of the videos that I saw and based off of what I heard them doing. And it worked out okay. You know, the only thing that I feel like cost me a little bit of money was having a dispatcher. But then again, you know, I didn't have the experience. I didn't have anything like that. So would I have got all the routes that the dispatcher gave me? I don't know. But, you know, you know, how can I say it? So I've came to an understanding that I live in Southern California, right? And where I live dude, even just within 50 miles, there's like 30 to 40 Amazon locations just within like those, I would say a little bit less, probably like 30 Amazon warehouses near me. And then if you add in all the third-party warehouses that are in my area too, we're talking about 100 plus. And then if I'm willing to drive up to 200 miles, 300 miles, whatever in California, I can still, you know, let's say we'll double that or triple that. There's going to be like 300 or so, you know. And so I didn't think about that, you know. Okay, so I'll put it in perspective. So my brother, my younger brother, he has a box truck as well. We've been doing this together. We actually just he just started his own company not that long ago. And he started doing everything on his own, which is cool, you know. But he lives in Kentucky. And in the beginning, he did some OTR work, and then he did some, like, I guess you would call it local work, because he was coming home. He would drive a lot. Like, he was working 14 hours, and he would drive a lot. And he would still come home, but he'd be exhausted. And it wasn't until he realized, like, he came to an agreement with himself, and he said, you know what? My area where I'm at is not good for logistics. Like, I have to sacrifice some of my time and just head to where there is a busier area near me, the closest area near me that is doing really well with freight. And I'm just going to stay there for the whole week and you know, and see what happens. So my brother, he lives about an hour and a half or so from Nashville, Tennessee. And he did his research, right? Good for him. Like, I don't know if I would have done that. You know, I'm not in that situation. But he did his research. And after doing his research, he said, you know what? It's going to be more beneficial for me if I drive to Nashville and I stay there for Monday through Friday, you know, work. Worst case scenario, if I feel like I'm missing my family, I can either go home or I can ask my girl if she can come drive up here. And, you know, they could just stay at the hotel or whatever with me. And, dude, he's been having consistent work every day. It's not easy. It's not easy work. You know, he's still putting in his hours. He's still booking his own freight and things like that. But he's making it happen. And, you know, not everybody thinks like that. You know, I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that probably lived near him or you know, in that area out there. And they didn't think about that. Maybe their business went out of business. Who knows? Maybe they could be making more money if they just added that extra little bit of effort and said, you know what, fuck this or screw this. I need to sacrifice and I need to make my dreams come true. And I'm just going to, you know, Monday through Friday, head out. It's better than being OTR, sleeping in my truck all day. You know, I'll just chill out there, do what I got to do. I'm still close enough to be home. So that strategy works well for him, right? But that strategy might not work well for me. Over here in California, where I'm at, I have a local strategy, and I'll dive deeper into this in a separate video where maybe if I see that people want to know what I'm doing, let's say people are out here near Cali or they're in like a different state, maybe Florida or something like that, where it's like pretty good with freight and all that, where you can maximize and take advantage of local routes, then I'll go ahead and dive deeper into that. But for the most part, just to give you a quick rundown, what I did is, or what I've been doing is just, you know, about 30 minutes away from where 30 to 40 minutes away from where I'm at, that's where most of like the warehouses are at. So what I do is, if I don't have a posted truck or I didn't schedule a route, I'll just drive to my truck. I'll drive to my truck because I park it in like a little parking section where a whole bunch of other box trucks and semis park, and I'll just chill near my truck, right? and I'm on the load board, bro. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's not hard, but at the same time, it's tedious work that not everybody wants to do. Like sometimes I get caught up watching a YouTube video or something and I'll be like, oh shit, I'm not even on the load board. And so like, I have to make sure that I'm on the load board every second that I'm trying to make money. Because me, let's say I book a route, it's 50 miles or something short like that. Let's say I make 300 off of that. Now I'll finish that in a couple hours. I'll come back to where I need to be, and I'm still on the load board the whole time. I have my truck posted for the hours that I'm available, so that if something comes up, like I always have something coming in. And so like I always try to maximize my time. So just because I'm working local doesn't mean that I'm not working as much. So I actually, before I quit my 9 to 5, I thought that I was gonna quit this job. I had a really good corporate job. I was a banker for one of the bigger branches, or one of the bigger banks here in the U.S. And I left that job to do this just because I felt like I needed to take control of my own destiny. And to be quite honest with y'all, like, if you don't get rid of that employee mentality where you just want to work a specific amount of hours, you know, let's just say 4 to 8 hours a day, you might get those days where you'll get lucky, you'll get 1 route, 2 routes or whatever, at least in my situation, where you'll make some money. But bro, you ain't gonna make the type of money that you hear people making. So just because I live local or just because I'm driving local doesn't mean I'm only working an hour a day. You know, I'm still trying to maximize my time. If I'm content with what I made for the day and it happens to have been, 4 hours, and you know, that day I work 4 hours. But like, there's other days where I work 14, like the whole 14 hours. I let my ELD, like my clock, go all the way down. And you know, it is what it is. I have to do that because my goal is to be financially free. My goal is to be wealthy. You know, I want to be able to provide. I didn't have the worst life, right? I didn't have the best life, but I didn't have the worst life. I know people out there had it worse, but I just want to do better for my kids than what I had. And so that's the reason that I do these. So I'm glad that I was able to experience local work before I went over the road, because before I went over the road, I still had that mentality where I had just recently quit my job. You know, I was doing that for like 3 months, and I figured, oh, it's going to be so easy and all this stuff. And then I started watching those videos, and I started getting kind of sold on a dream that I should be OTR. But in reality, I was just basing that off of somebody else's strategy. You know what I mean? It could have worked for me if I kept going, but why would I be over the road when I could take advantage of all the luxury I have here in California? People say California sucks, but I'm stacking. I'm making like 600 to 1,000 a day, just working local. You know, maybe yesterday I drove 22 miles and I made $400. You know, I drove 22 miles. And it's like, damn, dude, like you gotta figure out your area. The biggest thing that I learned, figure out your geographically where you're at. And I'm sorry, it's not like a sexy answer, and it's not the answer that you probably want to hear. But if you are in a shitty area, or if you're in an area that doesn't get a lot of work, then you just got to make that sacrifice, bro. You got to make that sacrifice, drive to that area, stay in that area for a couple days, fill it out, see what you like. And if you just so happen to do OTR and you like that, then, you know, you found your strategy. Everybody's strategy is going to be different. Some people are going to have the same strategy and luckily it's going to work, but it's not going to happen like that all the time, bro. And so, you know, those are just my experiences. As far as like expenses, right? Last month I spent I think it was like $1,500 on gas the whole month, bro. The whole month. I made, it's September 1st right now, so I'm speaking about all of August already. Minus the stuff that I haven't been paid for, bro. I probably made like at least 11,000, like 11,000. Yeah, 11,000, at least a little bit over that. And so I'm really grateful. And out of those 11,000, I only have to pay obviously my truck, my insurance, and my fuel. But I'm not spending that much money on fuel, you know. And you can't expect to just have one stream of income and to be making it like that, you know. Like I always try to have at least a couple. So for me right now, like, I'm trying to think of different ways that I could utilize my truck. So, you know, my brother gave me this idea of like posting it on like Facebook groups, like people that have garage sale groups, just posting it saying that you have your truck available to like haul junk or to help them move and things like that. So always trying to stay ahead of the game, you know, and just kind of giving yourself a different way to make money. You can't just rely on Amazon. You can't just rely on that. It's kind of contradicting of me to say, because for the last couple months, you know, I'd say about 90% of my work has been Amazon, and it's working well right now, you know, but for the long run, unless you build that long good relationship where you get that consistent work or maybe contracts, then at that point, you know, you're a little bit more secure. But you've always got to keep your mind moving. You've always got to stay on the new stuff, you know. Always try to be ahead of the game. If another load board pops up or something similar to Amazon Relay, like, give it a try. But it's all trials and tribulations, you know. Everybody's gonna go through their own stuff. But my advice to you guys is, if you guys are brand new, or even if you're not brand new, maybe you haven't even got into this, learn from my mistakes. Learn from the things that I'm talking about. Don't make your work even harder, you know what I mean? Like, me personally, I talk about how I don't want to use a dispatcher, but don't let that discourage you from getting a dispatcher if you know you haven't been booking your routes, you know? Just don't let them screw you over. If your dispatcher is trying to take 10% and they're not really offering you anything, like all they're doing is just booking the routes, I personally think that's too expensive based on all the drivers and the brokers that I've been speaking to recently. So like, unless, like, let's say you don't have a DOT, I'm kind of getting off subject, but I'll make this quick. So let's just say you don't have a DOT and you're trying to utilize someone else's DOT to be able to drive and things like that, so you don't have to do that. At that point, you might have to pay the 10% because they're doing you a solid favor. But if that dispatcher is not utilizing their relationships or their MC number to leverage good paying routes, then I would not pay them that, dude. You're just gonna give them too much, you know. I've heard of some dispatchers that take, you know, 5% if they're not providing anything but that service of giving you a route. And then I've heard some people, you know, taking the full 10 or even more. It really depends on what you want to do. But if you need a dispatcher, if you know you're that type of person, or let's just say you're too scared, you know, if you want to give it a try, the good thing about these dispatchers is that they will get you routes, you know, and it's just up to you whether you find, one day you're going to find the type of work that you like to do. If you just like driving and you want to do that, then so be it, you know, go ahead and take advantage of that. But you guys need to learn how to do everything on your own, you know, because there's going to come a point where maybe that person might not be available. Maybe something bad might happen to that person. Hopefully that doesn't happen, right? But then if you lose that contact and you don't know how to do anything else, you know, you're kind of stuck because you were relying on so many people. So I'm glad that I've been kind of diving into all this on my own and just trying to learn off of other people and, you know, just learn as the time goes on, watching videos, doing different things like that. But y'all, we're going to make this, man. We're going to make it possible. You know, if I have to give you guys my perspective, I'd tell you that I personally appreciate local work a lot more, but that's just because it's worked in my favor a lot more. You know, if it wasn't working out in my favor where I couldn't get 2-3 routes a day at paying $300 each, you know, or so, $200 to $300 each, why would I do that? You know, daily I'm driving about 200 miles or less, and if I could make $900 a day, pay $100 in gas, you know, I'm not only is my truck gonna last me a lot longer, but I mean, you just need to make money, bro. As long as you're profitable, your RPM, bro, your rate per mile, make sure you don't let these dispatchers, bro, tell you what to do and only give you shitty paying routes, bro. There's some dispatchers out there that are gonna think that it's okay for them to give you $1.80 a mile, $1.60 a mile. And it's like, bruh, why the heck are you putting me through this? You know, and in the beginning, if you don't like confrontation, you're not going to say nothing. But, you know, my biggest advice for y'all is just to be your own boss, man. Take control of your own destiny. Even if you have to use a dispatcher or use those services for a certain amount of time until you feel confident enough to do it on your own, then, you know, do it like that. if you have to drive under somebody else to feel comfortable, then, you know, do what you got to do. But in the long run, the long-term goal should always be to take control of your own destiny. I'll leave you guys with that right there, y'all. I will try to post a little bit more consistently, like I said. It's just that since, you know, I'm brand new to this, I'm not gonna front, y'all. I just didn't think anybody was watching them. And, you know, like a couple days ago, I was checking my analytics, and for only having this channel up for 2 months, and I know it's not a lot, but to have about 80 subscribers, 80 something subscribers, and have like 200 hours worth of watch time, I thought that was pretty good. You know, I don't feel like I've been putting in that much of an effort. So if I continue to do this, hopefully this turns out well. It's good for your personal branding as well. It helps you with tax write-offs as well, because if you implement this into your type of business, you know, it becomes part of your brand. So certain equipment that necessarily doesn't relate to trucking, but now you need it to be able to record yourself and things like that, can now become a business expense because of becomes necessary and ordinary to your business. But later, y'all, I hope y'all stay safe, stay disciplined, stay focused, stay consistent. Let's make this money.